Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crocheting Coffee here. And today we're back with our Wip N Chat. Wip stands for work in progress. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. Today I will be working on my granny square blanket. This is how far I've gotten. I haven't touched it since the last Wip N Chat, mainly for the fact that I have a tester pattern right now. And so I'm working on a tester pattern in between my, we're trying to get things organized and together and get ready for this move. And we came up with the best idea, y'all. Oh my God. So get your drinks, get your snacks, get ready. We're going to chat. We're going to chit chat. I got so much stuff to tell you. Maggie made a friend, you guys. I got so much to tell you. All right. So as you guys already know, we're going to do a couple more Wip N Chats like this where it's face to face until you see a change of scenery in the background. Because with us moving, everything is essentially getting packed up. Now let's get started with that story. So me and Mr. Coffee were sitting here Friday and we were talking about the channel, and we usually, Friday nights are usually after I go off live, we sit and talk about the channel, what happens over the, what's happened over the week. If there's anything I want to talk to him about, anything in general, that I want to talk to him about. We talk about it on Friday nights after I do my live, because then usually I'm trying to wind down, and that's how I wind down is I talk. I talk a lot. You guys already know this. It's a Southern thing. I can't help it. Anywho, we've decided, because I was like, we're going to need boxes. So we're going to need to save all the boxes that we get from these deliveries. And he's like, well, where are we going to put them? And I'm like, well, I don't want to put them in the garage, because what if a bug or something gets into it? They're outside. Now the garages are closed. They're not open carports or anything. They're garages. But spiders and ants and stuff, I don't want them in my boxes. And I'm like, what if I my paranoid brain is sitting there what if a spider or an ant or something gets into my box? I then pack the box, take it over to the new house, let it sit, and then the bug gets in the house. Now, will my house be free of spiders and ants? Probably not, because it's, it's a house. Houses get spiders and ants every once in a while. We don't get a lot of spiders here, though. But ants, good God. Anyways, so I'm like, I don't want to put them out in the garage, but then there's really no place in the house to put them because there's so much stuff in here. So he's like, well, why don't we figure out something else to do? And I'm like, well, I don't know how else to do this, okay? So he's like, and I was like, hold up. What if we get, I'm like, listen to me now. What if we get some of the big Tupperware, or not Tupperware, the Rubbermaid containers? For those folks who don't know what Rubbermaid containers are, I'll try to put something up right there. What if we get a couple of those big Tupperware containers, or Rubbermaid containers, and we pack room by room and take it over to the new house? And then we'll pack up one room, take it to the new house, unload it into that room, and then come back and get more. Because we're taking the entire month of June to move, it's okay, if we do it room by room and just leave the necessities in the room, a couple of changes of clothes, the bed, the TV, we can get the dresser out of there, and we don't even need the actual frame to the bed, just the mattress. They can sleep on the floor on the mattress. It's fine. Maggie probably should anyways, because with her seizures, if she has a seizure in her sleep and goes to roll, she can roll off the bed and hurt herself. She's already done it once, which is why when we first moved here, she was sleeping on the floor with her mattress, and then we got her the bed and was like, we're going to turn it around so that she has a rail so that she can't roll out. She has a bad habit of rolling out of bed and then rolling under the bed, giving you a heart attack for about 45 minutes as you search for her, because somehow after she has rolled underneath the bed, all her toys join together like Toy Story 3, and then they just block your view of her from underneath the bed. So that's a whole nother story. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what if we just unpack room by room? Because that would be easier for me, because my kids get out of school next week. They're out for summer next week. So I can start having them pack up little things in their room, and their toys and stuff are already in boxes. So I'm like, I don't even really need to worry about packing up their toys, because Maggie's room is going to go, we're doing an overhaul of her toys again. And Orion, he doesn't giant Jenga and giant Yahtzee in his room, which is yard Yahtzee and stuff. That stuff's already in its own box. So we don't need to worry about that. It's just his dresser, both their desk, their TV stands, their TVs, and the bed. But I'm like, if we take the bare necessities and just leave those in the rooms and take everything else to the new house, by the time Mr. Coffee has next days off to come pick up all the heavy stuff, we can go ahead and just have the heavy stuff already ready to go. So he's like, all right. He's like, even if I get off work and we take one thing over at a time, that's still better on my back than trying to do it all in one day. So I was like, yeah. So I'm like, even for us, if we take our bed apart and take like the box spring over or the head and footboard over and then take that heavy mattress over, that would be a lot better than trying to do all of that in one day. So he's like, all right, we can do it like that. So I was like, all right, bet. And I was like, but the problem's going to be is what are we going to do with all the Tupperware container or the Rubbermaid containers when we're done? And he goes, you know what? We can just put them in the car or the garage because the new house does have a garage. He goes, we can put them in the garage for all the stuff that we don't know exactly where to put or we're just storing away. We can just put it in the garage in the Tupperware or the Rubbermaid containers to store. And I was like, you're a freaking genius. So we're not going to be getting boxes. He's actually out right now. The kids had testing for their 4th week assessments for school. For their last, it's their last assessments before they get their report cards. So they are out at their assessments. He had to run to the post office for me because my niece bought some cups off of me, some tumblers. She wanted some tumblers for a couple of her friends. Well, I can't remember if I put the metal straws in there, so I'm sending her out some more straws. And so he had to take the kids up to the schools to get tested, which I was mad because Orion's teacher told us, you know, they will be testing at Lewis and Clark. And there's like 7 or 8 different elementary schools. I don't freaking know. But his teacher's like, they're going to be testing at this school. Okay. Then Mr. Coffee goes to take Orion up to that school, and they're like, oh, no, no, no. Now they're testing at that school. Luckily, the school that he's testing at is like a block away from where the other school is. So he had to drop off Maggie, then drive up to the other school, drop off Orion, then head over across town to the post office, drop off my package for my niece. Then he had to go to Walmart to get something. Or he's getting the Rubbermaid containers. So he's going to put those in his truck and then go sit and wait for the kids to be done. And he's like, why don't you go ahead and record your video while I'm out? Genius. Freaking genius. I'm like, yes, please. Because my Wip N Chats are harder to do because they're longer videos and I usually do them out in the living room. And Mr. Coffee, when he's here, he's in the living room. And today's a hot day. Like today it's like 75 degrees and it's not even really 1 o'clock yet. So Mr. Coffee's already in like a grumbly bear type mood because it's hot. And I'm like, yeah, it's hot, but like, why do you always have to get so angry when it's hot? Like, I don't understand that. Make it make sense. Why? I've never seen somebody he gets angry over stupid stuff. Stuff that he should get angry over, he doesn't. But stupid stuff like the heat, stuff that he can't control, he gets so, oh, God, it's so hot. So I'm like, why don't you go sit in your truck in the air conditioner? Because I'm Southern, so this is nothing. Like, there's no humidity. There's a cool breeze blowing through about every 3 to 5 seconds. And I'm like, to me, this is nothing, okay? Like, it's nothing. But to him, he's about to die. So I was like, why don't you go sit in your air conditioner truck? And, like, you know, he had some homework he needed to finish. I'm like, so why don't you go do that while I record my video? And he goes, oh, okay, I can do that. Sweet. So, luckily, because he's off this week, he's on days off. He's waiting to hear back from his old job to see if he got the position that he wanted. He's feeling a little positive about that, and I'm glad he does. It's, you know, something he's wanted for the longest time, so hopefully he hears something back soon. I'll keep you guys posted. Anyways, let me tell y'all about this weekend, y'all. Look, listen. It's been a weekend, y'all. It has been a weekend. So, you guys already heard how I got attacked by the dog. Well, the complex contacted me and asked me, did I need medical, like, did they need to have me evaluated, like my wound, did they need to have my wound evaluated? And they were going to kick the lady out because her dog wasn't on a leash. And I'm like, no, that's not necessary. The dog got a hold of my boot, 1. And 2, yeah, no, there was no wound. Like, the dog didn't hurt me. It scared the crap out of me, but he didn't hurt me. So they were like, all right, well, we still have certain protocols that we have to take, and she'll be fined $700 because there's a fine if your dog is caught off leash and it hurts somebody, they do fine you. And usually it's around $500 to $700. So she was getting fined $700 because her dog was found off leash and had attacked someone. And so I was like, well, you don't really need to do all that. And she's like, oh, it's part of her lease that it's part of the lease that you sign when you know, come to live here, is that you will, if your dog attacks somebody, you'll be fined. And obviously they can call the cops on you and all kinds of other stuff. So I was just like, y'all doing the most right now. Like, that's not even necessary, but whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting here Saturday, and I told Mr. Coffee Friday night that I needed to I needed to get up at a good time because there was a couple of releases from Diamond Art Club that I wanted to get, so I needed to make sure I was up for the new releases. And I wanted to get a head start on my hair because I knew it was going to take all day. Now, I probably will do it again in 2 weeks just because I'm learning how to do, like, this is the first time I've ever done this style by myself. And so I'm learning things about it that I like and that I dislike. And so I'm probably going to end up redoing it again here in 2 weeks. I'm probably going to go, I might go back to the blue for a little bit. It depends. The pink is, it's working with me. It's working with me. But we'll have to wait and see. So I'm sitting there and I start my hair. Now I washed it which washing my hair, I have what they call 4C hair, which is like thick hair, okay? It's thick, it's super curly, and I finally got all of my hair back to its naturally curly state. And so I was like, okay, now I'm going to straighten it and then do my hair so that it's easier to put it back in the braids. And so I was like, I'm going to do it like that because it's easier that way. So I start straightening my hair. I get the front of it straightened. Mr. Coffee goes to go walk the dogs. The kids are like getting ready for the day. They're like straightening up their room and getting ready to go outside and play. And they're surprisingly going to play nicely together because they had been playing nicely all morning. And I was just like, I must be in the freaking Twilight Zone. How often is it that children play nicely together? Like, I don't know, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Sorry, I put the recliner up. So I'm sitting there and I'm straightening my hair. Maggie comes over and she's like, Mommy, we're going to do this map. And I was like, all right, do the map. Somebody had sent them on a What You Got Wednesday, a magnetic map with a piece of paper with all the states on it. So they're going through and together they're able to put all the states together because Maggie knows the states that Orion doesn't and Ryan knows the states that Maggie doesn't. So together they can put a whole map together. So I'm like, y'all go ahead and do your thing. So I'm sitting there and they're putting the map together and stuff, and then I get a phone call. And I'm thinking, it's too early for my dad to be calling to keep me hostage on the phone. It's too early for my sister to call and keep me hostage. So who is this calling my phone? And it wasn't even really early. It's like 11 something. Like, but my dad usually doesn't call me until later in the afternoon, and my sister does too. So I'm like, who is it that's calling my phone? So I answer the phone, and it's Mr. Coffee, and I'm like, aren't you walking the dogs? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I can barely hear you. What's going on? Like, where are you? And he's like, I'm at the dog park. I don't remember there ever being music at the dog park, but okay. And he's like, there's a carnival out here. Okay. He's like, they're having a grand opening. And I hear my leasing lady go, hey, is she bringing the kids? And Ryan goes, Mom, we should go. I'm like, why should we go, Ryan? He goes, well, you wanted Maggie to make friends, right? He goes, what better place to go make friends than with our meet and greet with we should go over and meet the new neighbors and see if they have any kids her age. How are you only 10, but you come to this conclusion? I don't know. Okay. Orion's also learned a new word I'll tell you about here in a little bit. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right. Let's see here. And I was like, well, if I'm meeting my new neighbors, I gotta look like something. Like, I don't want to just go out there with, like, you know, hair askew and, you know, my gym shorts on and just be like, hey, I'm Alishia. So I was like, all right, fine. And Maggie goes, Mommy, am I gonna make friends? I'm like, yeah, honey, you can make friends. Now, Maggie's problem is, one, she's a little traumatized from what happened with the window friend, because window friend was so mean to her, apparently, that she is fearful that she's going to make a friend and then they're going to be like nice to her sometimes, mean to her other times, and then they're going to call her stupid. And so she doesn't want to make friends. And I'm like, well, honey, you can't be fearful that people are going to be mean to you, because all your life people are going to be mean to you. It's just how you deal with it. And she goes, like you deal with mean people? No, you be different than Mommy. You do better than Mommy. Don't be mean to people like Mommy's mean to people. You be nice to people. And she's like, but sometimes you tell Daddy and you say that they deserve it. Well, honey, that's just, it's part of the circumstance. Stop listening to my conversations. Like, why kids always gotta be up in your damn business? God. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get dressed. The problem is, Maggie then comes up to me and she goes, well, Mommy, maybe you can make a friend too. Whoa, let's hold our horses here, okay? Let's hold our horses. Ain't nobody say nothing about me having to make friends. And Mr. Coffee calls back and he's like, are you guys coming? And I'm like, yeah. And Maggie goes, me and Mommy are going to make friends. And Jordan's like, Actually, you know what? It probably wouldn't be bad if you actually try to make a friend. Why? I have friends. 25,000 of them. I don't need any more friends. I'm good. My internet friends are my best friends. And he's like, how about a real friend? How about not? And he goes, why don't you want to make friends? Why do I want to make friends? Okay, hear me out. I don't want to make friends. One, I don't want to go to a carnival and make friends because I'm going to have clothes on. Let me explain. So, sorry, my coffee. That Snickers Screamer's hitting today. So I don't want to make friends, especially at the carnival, because I'm going to have clothes on, okay? I'm going to have a bra and pants on. I had on tights and a bra, okay? I don't want to make friends like that. I want, when I make a friend, I want to look like a hot mess. Like, I want to be like the conductor of the Hot Mess Express. Choo choo, all aboard. All hot mess moms, all aboard. I don't want to be like dressed and looking cute and being like, oh my God, hello, my name is Leisha, these are my children. No. Hey, my name is Leisha, these are the monsters, that's my husband, how you doing? Like, that's how I want to make friends. Because if I'm dressed, they're gonna have this high expectation of me that I have my life together. And let me tell you right now, let me tell you right now, I might look like I have my life together, but deep down in my shoe, my sock is falling off my foot. Let that sink in. No, I do not have my life together. I am a hot mess, okay? Organized chaos has my picture in the book. Like, no. And I want a hot mess friend. And I'm like, I know what's going to happen. And the women, not all the women, but most of the women around here, look, listen. Most of these women around here are the ones that I don't like, the ones that have like the little purse and their dogs in the purse. And this is Chewy and he's 3 years old. He's a teacup chihuahua. Like, I don't want one of those people as friends. Okay. Like, I don't want to meet those people. And we finally get dressed and go over to the carnival, and Maggie's like, Mommy, we're going to make friends. I'm like, you gonna make friends? I ain't making no damn friends. I got a bra and stuff on. I ain't trying to have high expectations put on me. That's too much pressure. I want low expectations. Lower the bar so that I can surprise you when I do put on clothes. So I get to the dog park, and of course there's a bunch of people out there. There's children running around. I'm just like, okay. So I'm not big on children. I don't mind kids. Like, I love my kids. Because my kids behave like I want them to because they're mine. But you can't control how other kids act. And I was worried that Window Friend was going to be over there because she does live up the street. And she will find any excuse that she can to go up the street. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, Leisha, just calm down. You got this. And I don't have social anxiety. I just don't like being in public. I am a hermit. I am the key definition of hermit. I don't want to see people. I want to stay in my house where all my stuff is, because why would I want to go away from all my stuff unless I'm going to go buy more stuff to put with my new, like with my old stuff. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to meet people. I don't want to make friends or anything like that. And Mr. Coffee comes running up and he's like, hey, you guys want to go in the bounce house and all this? And I'm like, yay. So me and him are just walking around, and then I decide, you know what, I'm going to do an Instagram Live. I've never done Instagram Live before, and I'm just going to do an Instagram Live. So I did an Instagram Live for about 20 minutes. It's over on Instagram, obviously. And so I was like, all right, we did the Instagram Live where I was showing you guys what the kids were up to and letting you know that, you know, I wasn't planning on having a video this weekend, but then I realized that I had so many videos that I needed to make a video for this weekend. So I was just like, you know, updating everybody, letting them see the kids playing in the bounce houses and everything. The kids having a grand old time. Maggie decides she wants to get her face painted. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get off here and then we're going to let you get your face painted. So we get off Instagram Live. And I'm sitting there and the lady goes, hi. And Maggie, of course, doesn't talk. Maggie is very backwards and shy when it comes to meeting new people. So she didn't say anything. And the lady goes, I see you like unicorns. Because, of course, she had on her unicorn, what is the thing called? Fanny pack. She had on her unicorn fanny pack with her unicorn shirt, with her unicorn tights, and her little unicorn shoes. And the lady goes, I see you like unicorns. Nah, she likes sloths. She don't even like the unicorns. No, not at all. She goes, I can do a unicorn face. So she did a unicorn face for Maggie. And Maggie was all excited about it. And she's like, Mommy, look, I'm a unicorn. Now, she threw Mr. Coffee for a loop because as the lady's sitting there painting Maggie's face, she then had this little bottle of glitter. And she told Maggie to close her eyes. And she squirted it at Maggie to get like the burst of glitter on her face. Mr. Coffee must have jumped back like 6 feet. He was like, oh, hell no. No. Is there any way you can wipe that off and redo it without the glitter? I don't do glitter. And the lady goes, if you really want. And Maggie's like, Daddy, please no, I want glitter. Now, Daddy doesn't like the glitter, but of course, he has a daughter who loves glitter. And so to make up for her not being able to have glitter, he makes sure she gets lots of stuff with sequins on it because it's like glitter minus it's not the herpes of craft supplies. All right, sorry about that, Mr. Coffee called. But we're sitting there and the kids are playing, having a good time. Maggie got to keep her glitter. Mr. Coffee's like keeping his distance from Maggie. Maggie goes back in the jump houses and everything. Orion, we look at him, his face is like turning peachy red. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? And my dad's like, did you put sunscreen on him? No, I didn't put no dang sunscreen on. I don't use sunscreen. I never think to put it on them. So I think Mr. Coffee's going to have my back in that. But in the fact that Mr. Coffee doesn't even use sunscreen. So I'm like, horrible parents with the goddamn sunscreen. I don't even know what sunscreen to buy my children, okay? I've never used sunscreen ever in my entire life. I didn't even know sunscreen was a thing until Maggie went on, or I knew it was a thing, but I had forgotten about it because I don't use it. And then Maggie went on her first field trip and they're like, make sure you pack sunscreen. Do they have sunscreen for mixed kids? Asking for myself. Like, I don't know what kind of, and my kids have Maggie has olive color skin. But Orion has like a pale yellow type skin. So like his skin's a little bit more sensitive to the sun than Maggie's is. I ran out of toner, I guess. I don't know what happened. Minna's about my color. Then Maggie's a little lighter than us. And then Orion's just like tactical flashlight mini version. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, I didn't put any sunscreen on or anything on him. So he probably is ready to go home. And he goes, I'm dying. Now take it. It was 70 degrees. It did have a light breeze too. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, go ahead and take him home. I'll stay here with Maggie for another, maybe 20 minutes and then we'll have her come home. Me and Maggie ended up staying another 45 minutes. We come home. I go, okay, I'm going to get back to doing my hair because I had just put a hat on because I had the front part straightened, but not the back part. So I was like partying the back and like working the front, I guess, like a reverse mullet. So I'm sitting there and, excuse me. I was sitting there and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to finish, doing my hair because it's going to take me a while. Mr. Coffee goes, okay, well, I'm going to take the kids back out there to go play since Orion wants to go back out. And I'm like, all right, bet. I get a phone call 20 minutes later, y'all. I'm not even joking. Before I get the phone call, I see a ambulance go by and a fire truck go by. And I'm thinking, that's normal. Like, whatever. Like, they're loud, but that's normal because, we live 2 minutes down the street from the fire department. And they keep an ambulance and a cop car there. So I'm like, whatever, it's just normal, they had a call this way. Then I get a call from Mr. Coffee not soon after I see the ambulance and stuff. And he goes, oh my God. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh my God, the bounce house. I'm like, what about it? He goes, he said something and I thought he said it blew up. And I was like, where are my babies? And he's like, no, it didn't blow up. And I'm like, then what happened? Y'all, I tried not to laugh, but I was laughing so hard. I felt so bad. Let me just premise it with this. Nobody was hurt during the making of this video. Or after this video. Or before this video. So apparently, as you guys know, okay, I asked my Patreons this, so I'm going to ask you guys this as well. So question of the video. If you had to put something on a postcard that represents where you live, like the state or country you live in, what would you put? Mine would be what I saw in my head when my husband told me what happened at the carnival. They had to shut the carnival down early. They had to shut the carnival down early because the wind picked up. And I was like, okay, what's the big deal? Now, when we were there were like giant gallon jugs of water with a rope around them, apparently holding down the bounce houses, which is typical for a bounce house because you don't want it to blow away in the wind. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem? Apparently, the rope got loose from the kids playing with it. Like, not my kids, like other kids that were there. The rope got loose. And apparently when the wind picked up, like a huge gust came out of nowhere and picked up the bounce castle and blew it across the street. The only problem is there were 3 kids in it. I feel bad for laughing, one, because there were 3 kids in it, and I'm sure they were like scared to death. Mr. Coffee, when I say that to Mr. Coffee, he goes, no, actually they were laughing minus the one little girl that got hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, a kid got hurt. He goes, not really. Essentially, I guess she twisted her ankle because the way that it happened was the other 2 little kids were smart. When it lifted up off the ground, 2 of the kids grabbed hold of the side of the thing. This girl just stayed in the middle with her arm straight out. So you can tell your parents need to give you no kind of survival skills for this type of situation. We live in North Dakota. You should be prepared for everything, okay? Even when the wind takes your children. I have been warning you guys about this for months, okay? I tell y'all, I got a rope for Maggie, and every time the wind's strong, we take the rope. They weren't prepared, okay? She wasn't ready. The wind just went whoop. And apparently, while the other 2 kids are holding on for their lives to the side. Now, don't worry. It didn't go like high up in the air or anything. It literally was enough to graze the grass and go into the middle of the street. And luckily, the road that it went on is not a very well, like, it's not traveled often. So there's not a lot of traffic on that road. So apparently, it just lifted it up enough to slide it across the street. And it was on the other side of the street. But when it did that, when the other 2 kids held on, this chick just stayed in the middle with her arms spread out wide. And I'm like, what was that going to do? And so when it turned sideways, before it landed, she fell out and twisted her ankle. She is fine. But I laughed so hard when he told me. I felt so bad. And Maggie goes, well, can we go on that? Like, the lady is telling Mr. Coffee what's happening. And Maggie goes, whoa. Is there blood? And she goes running and taking off to go see the little girl and make sure she's okay. The little girl says she's fine. The doctors look at her. They put like an ace bandage on her leg. They say, you know, give her some Tylenol. If it doesn't get any better within the next 24 hours, you know, take her to the ER. So Maggie goes over. She goes, oh, there's no blood. And the girl goes, yeah, I know. I wish there was blood. Blood is cool. And Maggie's like, yeah. If my daughter could pick a cool kid group to be in, she would be in the emo kid club. Nothing wrong with it. But she has found her soulmate. I don't know what we're going to name her soulmate because I don't like putting people's kids' names on the internet. Y'all can know my kids' name. They're my kids. But other people's kids, I don't want y'all being all about other people's business. So, like, we got to find a name for Maggie's little friend because Maggie made a friend. Her mom is standing there and her mom's like, oh my God, this kid, she's always doing something. She's so accident prone. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, like Maggie is accident prone. If you think that you can't hurt yourself on something, Maggie will find a way. Where there is a Maggie, there is a way for her to hurt herself. She was sitting on her bike, which has training wheels, and somehow still hit her head on the rail to our stairs, or to the balcony. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, look, listen. It looks like the kids are hitting it off. It looks like they're friends. I just want to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Alishia. And she's like, hi, my name is so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's nice to meet you. And she's like, do you guys live here? And I'm like, actually, not yet. We will be moving in on June 1st. We're going to be moving right here. And she goes, oh my God, we literally just moved in a couple of days ago. We live over there. They live 4 houses away from ours. And she goes, this is my daughter. We're going to call her Cathead. She goes, this is my daughter, Cathead. And I was like, oh, well, hi, Cathead. And she goes, hi. Your daughter's pretty cool. She likes blood like me. And I'm like, yeah, cool isn't the word I would go with, but okay. And Maggie goes, Mommy, I like her. I'm like, well, that's great, Tootsie. You want to go play? And the girl goes, yeah, let's go play and see if I can break the bone. And Maggie's like, oh, cool. And I'm like, no. And her mom's like, don't, I wouldn't. She's not going to stop. She's not going to hurt herself, but she's not going to stop. This is how she talks all the time. And I'm like, oh, Maggie really has found her soulmate. And me and the mom were sitting there talking, and apparently Maggie and this little girl have a lot in common. Meaning, they like the same things. Like, they like those satisfying videos where they like, the ones where they like, you know, they cut stuff and it turns into like little squares. Like, they cut in a bar of soap up and then they go to, like, I don't know, scale it. And then like all the little pieces come up off the soap and stuff. Her daughter likes that. Her daughter likes blood and gore. Her daughter likes scary things. Her daughter loves Halloween. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Maggie in other little girl form. And her mom's like, meanwhile, I'm just a hot mess trying to keep it all together over here. And her dad's just, he's an oil field guy, so good luck seeing him. She goes, this will probably be the first and last time any of y'all see him. And then this is our puppy, I don't remember the dog's name, Layla, I think it was. And I was like, oh, well, you know, this is my husband, Jordan, and these are our two little ones here, Orion and Maggie. And she goes, well, hello. And Orion's like, it's nice to meet you. You got any sons? Do they like play video games? And she goes, I only have a daughter. And he goes, are you thinking about having a son? Orion, you can't ask people to have kids so that you have somebody to play with, okay? That's not how this works. So we finish out the rest of the evening there, and I'm talking to the lady, and apparently Miss Coffee made a friend. And Mr. Coffee's like, that's so awesome that you made a friend. Now you guys will have somebody to go visit and talk to whenever I'm not home. And I'm like, where do you think you're going? Like, where are you going that I need to make friends? Like, you are my one and only friend. I don't need to go make more friends. So yeah, so Maggie's made a friend that's just like her, so she's super excited. I made a friend. The lady's actually pretty cool. She can join the Hot Mess Express for the hot moms. We're gonna have a hot girl summer full of hot mess friends, apparently. So that's what's happening here in the coffee household, apparently. And then, okay, changing topic here because my brain's all over the place. When was the first time your child or you realized that your teacher doesn't live at the school? Now, I remember for me, I was younger, the first time I seen one of my teachers out in public, and I was like, oh, what is she doing here? She's not supposed to leave the school. My brain as a child thought that teachers legit lived at school. And I think that's the truth for most kids. Like, most kids think that their teachers live at the school. Orion, I don't think he ever had that thought. Like, I don't think it really registered to him. He doesn't really care. But Maggie thought for sure that her teachers lived at the schools. So we were at Walmart because I wanted to pick up, like, you ever feel like your body is telling you that you need fresh foods, like fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff? Like, every once in a while, I feel like my body, like, talks to me. And you gotta listen to yourself. Plus, if I did listen to myself, how else am I gonna get really awesome advice? I mean, I have friends I can ask, but when I don't want to bother them, I might as well bother myself. So I'm like, I feel like I need like a salad and some fruit. Like, I want some cantaloupe. I want, like, my favorite summertime fruit is cantaloupe. I will settle for watermelon. I do like watermelon, but cantaloupe is where it's at. I don't mind honeydew, but cantaloupe, okay, so three things I like in the summer. Honeydew, cantaloupe, watermelon. And if you put the three together, good God. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to make a fruit salad, but I do need some fruit. Like, I feel like my body needs some fresh foods in it because, like, we've been eating junk food, and as you can tell, like, I did lose some weight, but, like, and I've always, the sad part is, I've always had a double chin. Ever since I can remember, I've had a double chin. It's not like it magically got conjured up during quarantine. It's always been there, and it always usually looks like this. Like, I've always had a chubbier face. And they're like, my doctor even said, well, you can do face exercises. I'm like, what the hell are face exercises? And then she starts making all these, like, no ma'am, no ham, no motherfucking turkey. No, we're not doing that, ma'am. No, I'm sorry. I wouldn't do that in the dark during a solar eclipse in a dark closet with no windows. I'm not doing that. I'd rather have a chubby face. So I'm going to love my chubby face because it's my face. Well, I was like, I need something fresh. So let's go to Walmart and get some fresh vegetables and some fresh fruits because I want to make something fresh. He goes, okay. So we go to Walmart and we're going to get fresh stuff. And I hear Maggie go, oh, Mommy, who's that? Who's what? And I'm thinking, how the hell am I supposed to know? We don't know anybody around here. Like we know like 6 people. And we don't even know them. Mr. Coffee knows them. We know them because of Mr. Coffee. And she goes, Mommy, what is she doing here? What is who doing here? And I'm looking around and I'm like, I still don't see who the hell she's talking about. And she goes, my teacher. Your teacher? Where? And I was like, oh, there's Miss, what's her teacher's name? Miss Hokinson. And I was like, oh, hi, Miss Hokinson. She's like, oh, well, hi, Maggie. Hi, Miss Tepper. How are you? I'm like, we're good. You're kind of close. You're freaking me out a little bit. And she's like, how are you doing, Maggie? And Maggie's like, why aren't you at the school? And she goes, oh, honey, did you think that I lived there? She goes, yes. Why aren't you at home? Are you supposed to come out? And I'm like, Maggie, the school doesn't hold your teacher hostage. You know that, right? Like, your teacher's allowed to, like, leave the school to go home to her family. She has a family? I'm like, do you think your teacher's a robot? She's not a robot. Now, when Maggie doesn't think that something is real, Maggie immediately assumes that it's a robot. Don't know why. Don't know where she got this logic. Just in her brain, it's a robot. Okay, Maggie. So she apparently thought that her teacher was a robot. And they went on chargers after all the students left. And I'm like, you watch too many cartoons. No. Your teacher's a regular person that happens to teach tiny humans like you how to read and write and do all kinds of fun school stuff. And she goes, so she can leave the school? And Orion's like, yeah. And I'm like, honey, yeah, your teacher is not a robot. She can leave the school whenever she wants to. So, okay. Like, you could tell Maggie was cluster messed in there. Like, her whole brain just exploded out of her ear because she was just like, my teacher leaves the school? And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord. I'm like, yes, Maggie, your teacher leaves the school. She doesn't just stay there all day. Like, she's there to work. That's her job. Oh, so that's her job. And I was like, yes, that's her job. And Maggie's like, oh, do you get lots of monies? And the teacher laughed and she's like, well, I get some monies. I'm like, they don't get paid, they get paid like, like most people who have jobs. And she's like, well, shouldn't they pay her more because she has to leave school? I'm like, why do they pay her more for leaving the school? She goes, because she has a whole life outside of school. She also has children outside of school. She goes, you have tiny humans too? My mommy has tiny humans. And her teacher's like laughing and I'm just sitting there like. And she goes, you know what my mommy does for work? And my one rule, okay, my one rule for my kids is don't tell people what I do for work. Why? Because it comes out like this. My mommy makes videos. Now to you, you're probably thinking, oh, she makes, videos, whatever. And she's like, she makes videos for adults though. She doesn't make them for kids. Her teacher looks at me as if I just pooped myself right there in the middle of Walmart. That's how she looks at me. And I'm like, shut up, Maggie. Shut up. And Maggie's like, Mommy says I'm not allowed to watch all her videos because sometimes they're not for children. But I like watching Mommy's videos. And I'm like, Maggie, shut the hell up. And her teacher's like, so you make adult videos? And I'm like, nah, chick, this ain't OnlyFans. I make YouTube videos. And she's like, oh, well, that's really... She goes, would you mind talking to the class about it? Look, listen, I don't even want you to know about it, let alone go talk to your class about it. Apparently, right now, it's a big fad among kids to have a cool parent. Which, I don't see myself as a cool parent. I just see myself as a parent. But, if they want to call me cool, I'll just say it. So I'm like, you want me to come talk to the class? Like, I guess she teaches summer school. And she was saying, well, we are going to have like a career day type thing in summer school. And I would like for you to come tell the students what it's like doing YouTube. I don't think you want me to tell the kids what it's like to do YouTube. You might want to find somebody else. I have a couple of friends you can get in contact with, but I don't think you want me personally talking to the kids about homeschool, like or about YouTube. Like I don't think I'm qualified for this. And Maggie's like, she's been doing it for a long time and she's really good. And I'm like, shut the hell up, Maggie. Now I don't mind that the kids like to brag about the fact that their mom does YouTube videos, but when they present it to people and say, my mom does videos, but they're only for adults, that immediately makes people think, hold on a second, loud car coming. All right, now that the noisy car parade has gone by, I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I don't like it when the kids try to tell people what I do, because they always make it sound really dirtier than it is. And I'm like, I make YouTube videos doing crafts, not shaking my ass or anything like that. So please, like, don't tell people. So then Sunday, I decide, you know, I got my hair done and I still need to work on my tester pattern, but I have a couple of weeks to work on the tester pattern. So I'm like, why don't we play a game? So Orion's like, yeah, we can play a game. So he pulls out Among Us. No problem, except for there must have been a server problem or something on Sunday with Among Us, because we tried playing with Maggie. Maggie's phone wouldn't connect to play, and then when her phone wouldn't connect to play, me and Ryan decided we're just going to do a match together. Well, then one of the matches that we got in, Orion was the imposter, which is he's the guy that goes around killing everybody. And he's like sitting there, and I'm like, he's sitting there, and he's just like sitting there kind of mumbling to himself, and I can hear him, but I'm trying not to look up at him because he's sitting in the living room, and I'm not supposed to know that he's the imposter, which I didn't know. And he's like, bruh, he just tried to like kill me. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, bruh. And he just keeps saying it, and I'm like, Ryan, where did you learn that word? Now, he thought he was in trouble because, like, 2 weeks ago, we had to have a discussion on what's a cuss word and what's not a cuss word. The kids, for the most part, know. You don't say the F word, the S word, the C word, elemental P word. They know what cuss words are. They know what words they're not supposed to say. Well, Maggie was walking around that day, and she kept saying crap. Like, she hit her foot, and she's like, oh, crap. And Orion's like, oh, Mom, Maggie said the C word. And I'm like, in my head, the C word is the C-U-N-T word. Like that word. We don't use it. I mean, I use twat waffle more than I use that word. Like, I don't use that word. I use twat waffle. That's, yeah. And I tell the kids that that's just mommies and daddies talking in cursive. Like, those are words that you can't say. I'm like, until you can write in cursive, you can't speak in cursive. Until you can understand reading in cursive, you can't speak in cursive. So essentially never. Or until you become an adult or something. I don't know. So Maggie's walking around that day, and she just kept saying the word crap. And Orion kept saying she's saying the C word. And I'm thinking, I know she's not walking around here saying the C word. One, because she's never heard it before. Because where we do curse in front of the kids, but it's not like F-bombs every 30 seconds or anything. And usually if it is, Maggie would be like, oh, I'm telling Papa, and then she tells my dad on me. Like, I'm 36 years old, and I'm thinking, what's he gonna do? You better stop all that cursing around my grandbaby. Oh, God, Jesus. So I don't curse a lot around my kids, but I do curse around my kids because I'm a real mom. And it's funny because somebody once asked me, they're like, what do you use instead of the F word in front of your kids? The F word. And when I tell people I don't sugarcoat things, that is in real life too. I don't sugarcoat things to my kids. Like, my kids, like the littler kids, have had a basics of like good touch, bad touch, all that fun stuff. So like, curse words was obviously put into that curriculum when they learned all this, okay? So they know what good words and bad words are. But Maggie saying crap, there's a couple of words that me and Mr. Coffee dispute are curse words. Like the word hell. To me, the word hell is a cuss word. To Mr. Coffee, it's not. Me and Mr. Coffee obviously were brought up two completely different ways and to believe in two completely different things. Like, he thinks that it's okay for the kids to get tattoos after they turn 16 because he did. The kids are not you. I'm not your mom, and the kids aren't, those aren't your siblings. Those are your kids. Our children will not have tattoos at 16. If they turn 18 and would like to have a tattoo that they can sign for themselves, then yes. But I'm not going to sign for a tattoo, and I'm not going to allow you to sign for a tattoo for our children when they turn 16. That's not happening. Like, we're both covered. Don't get me wrong. We're both covered in tattoos. I'm not against tattoos. I'm against tattoos on children. I don't think children should have tattoos. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel about it, and that's what will happen in my house with my kids. And Mr. Coffee's like, well, when I was their age, that's a difference. That's the difference. When you were their age, you were running the streets of New York. You won't even let your children run up the street. But you're okaying them to get tattoos. Make it make sense, y'all. So we're explaining to Orion that crap is not a curse word. But in his mind, it's a curse word and it's bad. And he's like, so can I say it? Can you say, like, after we had the whole conversation that it's not a curse word, he comes back and he's just like, can I say it? Can you say what, dude? And this is like 20 minutes later, so I have no clue what the hell he's talking about. He's like, can I say the C word? No! Why would you? Oh, that C word. I'm like, crap? I guess. Well, Maggie's in there taking a crap, and she used up all the toilet paper, so now she needs more toilet paper to wipe her butt after taking a crap. Orion, look, listen. You don't have to use crap rapid fire that many times in one sentence. 1. 2, you did not need to share the fact that your sister is going to the bathroom and needed more toilet paper. All you had to do is go get more toilet paper, which is located in your bathroom. He goes, oh, I know. I just wanted to let me get you aware that Maggie's in there taking a crap and I was getting her more toilet paper. And I'm like you literally thought that I gave him permission to say the F word all day. Like, that's how, like, whatever. And we finally, after like 30 minutes and him saying crap about 1,000 times, I was like, stop saying it. Stop saying it. Stop saying it. You're making it into a curse word. Stop saying it. Oh my God, these kids, I can't. All right. Sorry about that. Apparently. Now, I have proof. I keep receipts, okay? Apparently, Mr. Coffee just came by to drop off my stuff for What You Got Wednesday. And he had Orion with him, but he didn't have Maggie. So I was like, where's my daughter? Like, where's Maggie? And he's like, she's at the school still. She's finishing up her testing. All right, bet. And I'm like, then why do you have Orion? Because he was supposed to be at the other school. They said no. What do you mean they said no? They said no. They said no what? Apparently, Orion's teacher canceled their testing, like their 4-week assessment. She canceled it, didn't tell the students. Her students are sitting outside of the school wondering what to do. And the teacher was like, and the teacher lives in Fargo now. Like, she moved out of town. So she lives 5 hours away. So she's like, oh, I forgot to send you guys out the cancellation to our thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, he's like, it's all right. Me and Orion just sat in the car and played Minecraft. All right, bet. You got some father-son time in there. That's fine then. You're fine. So they have this is their last full week of school. Next week on Wednesday, they turn in their laptops. They are officially out for summer. Oh my God, I am so excited. We're pretty much going to spend the first part of their summer, like, getting their rooms packed up, packing up all their old clothes, taking all their old stuff over to the Salvation Army, making sure that they have pretty much this, like, we haven't cleaned out their drawers and, like, put in their summer stuff yet. And I don't know how many other parents do this, but what I usually like to do is I take and we go through all the clothes in their drawers, and anything that doesn't fit gets put into a pile, like 2 piles. It's either don't donate or donate. And here comes that motorcycle again. You're so cool. Anyways, so it's either don't donate or donate. And the donate pile gets taken over to the Salvation Army. Now, when we live in PA, we take it over to Goodwill, but apparently they have Salvation Army here, so it's the same thing essentially. So we'll take all the good clothes, which is hilarious because usually it's the little boy clothes that whenever I take the clothes up there, the lady always tells me that it's usually the little boy's clothes that don't have a whole lot, and it's usually the little girl clothes that has a lot. And in my case, there's more of Orion's clothes that get donated than Maggie's, because Maggie will literally wear her clothes till they're thinner than my patience. Okay, she will wear her clothes until there are so many holes that it looks like Swiss cheese. I don't know how she does this, but she does it every time. So every season change, so like twice a year, because you either have winter or it's hot. That's it. That's our seasons here in North Dakota. Winter or hot. Last week, Tuesday, it was snowing. Today, which is a week later, it's Monday, it's 80 degrees. Make it make sense. Are we going to get more snow? I don't know. Whatever Mother Nature decides to put upon us, we'll just have to brace for it. But in North Dakota, you don't put away your winter jacket. Ever. It's nothing else I've learned. You don't put away your winter jacket. So, the kids will be going through their stuff and getting stuff ready. Maggie is already talking about when she gets done with school today, she wants to go play with her little friend, Cathead. And I was like, well, you can go over and play with Cathead. And her mom apparently works, she works somewhere around here, but she doesn't work every day. So her mom told her that she can come over and play today. And I'm like, I'm so excited that she made a friend that's just as creepy as she is. And she's like, you know, Mommy, she's really cool and she's super nice. And I'm like, yeah, most people are like that. But people that are mean to you are not your friends. I'm like, you'll find out really soon. You won't understand why you were friends with Riley for so long, because, or window friend for so long, because she wasn't the nicest to you. And it's funny because now window friend is trying to talk to her again. Like, Maggie was outside riding her scooter and window friend comes up and like throws a note at her and it's like, hi. And Maggie's like, I'm not supposed to talk to you. Leave me alone. So Maggie takes the paper and throws it back at her and runs home. And I'm like, Maggie, what are you doing? She's like, she's trying to talk to me. And I told her I can't talk to her. And she's like yelling at her. She's trying to like roll by on her scooter past our house. And then her brother comes here later that evening and goes, hey, have you guys seen Window Friend? No? Why would we see her? I'm like, I don't know if you noticed this, but Window Friend is no longer allowed to play here. And he's like, oh, why not? Because your sister's a brat, dude. Your sister's kind of a butthole, and I don't want her playing with my kids. And then, like, I don't know, 30 minutes later, her frantic mother comes down. Have you seen Window Friend? No. Maybe you should keep better tabs on your child. They ended up having to call the cops to find the poor girl. Do I know if they found her? Nope. But she wasn't here. She was here long enough to scoot past my house, and I didn't see her again after that. And her mom was like, well, I don't understand why you won't let them play together. Your daughter is an asshole, dude. Like, she's a straight up asshole. I'm not even going to be nice and sugarcoat her. Her daughter was an asshole, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Like, you're not doing that. Why are you out there barking? Y'all already know who it is. Y'all already know who it is. Because we can't just not get attention during a video. So, like I said, I don't know if they found her or not. I hope they found her. I don't want anybody to lose their child, because that's heart-wrenching. That happens, you know, that it doesn't happen to me, but Maggie disappears and I can't find her for 5 minutes, so I frantically freak out. But like, I just find it funny that all of a sudden, now that she doesn't play with Maggie, all her other friends don't play with her either. Like, there was a little boy up the street that she used to show out in front of with Maggie, and even that little boy doesn't want to play with her now. So now she doesn't have anybody to play with. So Maggie's good enough again. And I was like, nope. And so Maggie, she saw Maggie, what was it? She saw Maggie yesterday, and Maggie told her she was going to go play with her friend, and she couldn't talk to her, and walked away again. And I saw her, and I was like, we've already told you to please stop talking with Maggie. Like, please leave her alone. You've done what you've done. It's over and done with. Just stay away from her. Well, I just need somebody to play with, and I told her I was sorry. I don't care what you told her. I really don't. Like, you're not playing with my child anymore. No. Like, go away. Like, June 1st cannot get here any sooner. Now, take it. We're not moving far away, but we're moving far enough away where I don't have to see her running past my house every 30 seconds. Or standing out on the sidewalk staring at my children's windows. Because now she's being stalker creepy. Like, she's being super creepy, and I don't like it. So, we're still having to deal with this window friend situation. And I've tried mentioning it nicely that, you know, we don't really want you playing with the kids anymore. Orion's fine with it because he doesn't like her anyways. I don't know what she did to Orion, but after Orion found out she was a girl, he was like, ew, no, I don't want to play with her. And he's pretty much been like that ever since. And then he tells us, like, when Maggie and her start fighting, one of the reasons why he doesn't like her is because he didn't like the way she was treating Maggie. Now, any other time my kids are fighting, they're not getting along. They're, like, you know, about at each other's throats, and I'm having to tell them to knock it off. But when it comes to, like, protecting each other, they're like this, yo. They're like this. And I'm so excited for it because, like, I know that if we have a situation where something happens where we're not around to see it, like me and Mr. Coffee, that Orion and Maggie will take care of each other. So that makes me happy. And we also found out that next year is going to be a little bit difficult because Orion goes to a different school next year. I don't know how to feel about this. So Maggie will be at the elementary school by herself, and then Orion will have his own school as well. And I'm like, I completely forgot. Where I'm from, it went K through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12. Here, it goes K through 4, 5 through 9, and then 10 through 12. And so Orion has aged out of elementary and is going into intermediate school, whereas Maggie still has 2 more years of elementary. Y'all, I'm already having a nervous breakdown, and it's just the beginning of summer. And they've already told us that they're not offering, they're not offering distance learning next year. They don't care. They're not offering it. Okay, so now we have to get Maggie prepped and ready for the fact that, you know, she's going to be going to school without her brother. And when she did last year, she wouldn't eat breakfast because she didn't want to sit by herself. And then she made a friend, and then she didn't care about, you know, going up because she had her friend. Well, now that Maggie's been out of school for a year, she doesn't have any friends at school. But then we find out that the little girl, Cathead, is the same age as Maggie, in the same grade, and actually even has some of the same learning disabilities as Maggie. Like, she struggles to read. So I'm like, oh my God, you have a reading bestie. And she goes, huh? I'm like, you guys could read stories to each other. And the little girl's like, well, I'm dumb. I don't know how to read. And I was like, don't you ever say that about yourself. You are not dumb. I'm like, you just don't read like everybody else. And that is just okay. You don't have to be smart to learn to read like everybody else. You read how you read. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. And Maggie's like, yeah, we're not dumb. We're going to teach each other to read. Y'all, look, listen. Can it be June 1st yet? Can it be June 1st yet? My daughter has found her soul person, and I'm here for it. Now, Orion, on the other hand, look, listen. Orion, I don't know what to do about Orion because we're still trying to teach this kid how to use furniture correctly. We finally got him to stop sleeping half in the bed and half in his chair for his desk. But now, like, I'll go into his room, but the chair, it's like he's weaning himself off the chair. You'll go in his room and his arm will be on the chair next to the bed, or his leg will be on the chair, and then, like, his bed is surrounded by cats. So he has, like, a little cat army in there, and I'm like, this is a weird kid. And I go in, I want to say Friday, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, I don't know. I'm going to read for a little bit. I'm like, all right. Well, while he's sitting there, I was like, let me look at something on your computer real quick, because I wanted to put up a timer to see how long he would actually sit there. He's curled up underneath his desk. He sat there like that for 2 hours. I was like, what the hell? You have all these sitting devices. He has a gamer chair. He has a rocking gaming chair. He has an office chair. He has a bed. We have kitchen, dining room. We have chairs right here. He squished himself in a cocoon underneath his desk to read a book. I'm like, you know what? You got your own personal book nook. I ain't hating on you. You do your thing, boo-boo. More power to you. Whatever. You're reading. I don't care. And Maggie, she's all excited because she has somebody to read with now. So I think things are kind of looking up for us right now. Like, I'm pretty excited about our future. So stay along for the ride if you would like. And if you would like to hear more stories from the Coffee House Shenanigans, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell. right down there to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, folks, I literally must bid you adieu because Mr. Coffee is going to be coming back here any second now with these kids, and I got stuff to do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button. It costs you $0. With that said, be safe out there in those crafty streets. Please remember to wash your hands. Don't touch your face out in public. Keep your 6 feet and always try. Be kind. Be courteous. Be cool. Bye, guys.